Okay. All right. Testing, testing. Okay. Just want to make sure. All right. Hmm. All right. So we do got a very interesting week this week. Very interesting week. Finally, the CFTC data is has been updated. We're caught up. Now we can see. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. Wow. Wow. This week is not a week to go short. This week is not a week to take shorts or to be comfortable in shorts. Wow. Look at that. Look at that, man. That is crazy. Yeah, this week is definitely going to be a week for sure. Uh, mm, mm. All right. So we are 64% long this week. We have 97,000, 97,000, almost 98,000 contracts long this week, way above the average at 81,000. We have 55,000 contracts short, right around the average. We're well above the total of contracts being traded. We're above average in longs and we're below average in shorts. And we're literally almost double. Actually, this is probably, no, it's not. 42,000 contracts net long this week. This week is definitely going to be probably a low volume pump. Low volume pump this week. I would not short this week or stay comfortable in shorts. Yeah, I see that, Alfred. Shit. I'm glad the CFTC data got updated this week. Because the institutions, they're coming back from their summer vacation and they're putting their money in this market. They're putting their money in this market for sure. The commercials, the commercials are. Uh, I mean, the commercials are just about the same. It seems like the commercials usually do the same thing. They're usually hedging their position, so I don't believe the commercials are going to be heavily on one side. It's obvious that they're more short than long, which is the reverse. If the commercials are short, that means that they believe that the market is net long, and then vice versa. So we always got to remember that. Always got to remember that, but you don't really need to even look at the commercials. Honestly, I just capture this data just to capture it. But huh, well, I'm ready for this week, man. I'm ready for this week. 98,000 contracts long. And by popular demand this week and moving forward, I will be focusing more on the ES orb since everybody is now making a transition over to the ES. That is definitely slow. It's definitely boring. You definitely will not get that dopamine dump that we all get from the Nasdaq, which is the main reason why we're very addicted to the Nasdaq. But with the ES, we have a lot of tools to be successful with the ES. We have the DOM, which is very accurate on the ES. We have the tape, which is very accurate on the ES. We have these Carmela pivots that are very accurate on the ES. We have the ES is it adheres to chart geometry. You can see that this trend line that was drawn 2 or 3 days ago, you can see that the market used this trend line during Friday's session. Oh crap! Hold on, give me a second. Oh yeah, speaking of that, I think I need to actually shit. Actually, hold on guys, give me a second. I forgot. Speaking of updates, give me a second. Sorry about that. I had to make sure that this update on my other workstation actually went through. But anyway, so the last couple of days, uh, you can see that the market used this trend line from 2 days ago during Friday's session. You can see that the bears tried to, or not the bears, the bulls tried to aggressively buy at this trend line, and they finally was able to break back above that trend line, use it as support, and now we're seeing price push off from that trend line. And that's the one thing that you can definitely count on when it comes to trading the ES is that you can take trades, risk to reward trades on the ES, and you'll probably get more than 50% of those trades to work. This is a good area where the bears may step up, but I wouldn't trust this. This trend line right here, right around R4, probably at the tip of this trend line, we could see price push up. And if we see the bears fail to hold that trend line, that right there is a great risk to reward short, especially if they try a couple of times. You see like a range in this at this trend line, and then you see that break, all those stops underneath at that trend line, we can potentially see price come back, to these highs for a quick scalp. And depending on how the bulls react and if they hold that pullback of this breakout, we'll probably see price eventually break above that trend line. But this is usually a risk to reward trade to the downside. So, uh, we'll see what happens. I would recommend waiting overnight with the ES. The one thing about the ES is that you don't necessarily have to, unless we have news, unless there's something that's moving the market. If you're going to shift your focus from the NASDAQ to the ES, you'll definitely sleep better at night because you know that you're not going to miss any big move. We rarely get big moves overnight with the ES, rarely. And the big moves that we do see overnight is usually a continuation from the previous session. And if you're not in a swing, well, you're going to have to wait until the market sets itself back up for a rebalance of prior support or resistance, or just wait for that orb, which honestly, in my opinion, with all the back testing that I was doing over the weekend, that orb is really all you need when it comes to the ES. That orb has, especially on Friday, if he was able to catch this drop from the lows, it almost didn't even pull back. That's how aggressive the bears got at this orb low on Friday. I had to have a moving uh, limit, and I was filled literally maybe with only a tick or two in drawdown. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get this on stream. I don't know why the ES chose to wait, but off stream, was able to get this hit. And I wish it would have been nice that I had another limit sitting right here, which I'm going to share this strategy with you guys. Actually, I'm going to probably do it now. Uh, Doing the same strategy that I'm doing with the NASDAQ. But I think with the ES, if I play my cards right, if I can get my first target hit, I'm going to actually change this. So I'm debating if I'm going to scale into ES. I'm debating because usually the ES has like a five, or not necessarily five, but 5 to 6 points is usually that sweet spot with ES. Usually. Mm, mm, mm. If I do that, so I'm kind of debating on having a well, let me just do the math on this real quick. Let me just do the math. Because I'm gonna have a 1 to 2 target and stop with ES. And I'll be a $500 loss, huh? $500 loss versus a hmm, you say you bought the low? Mm. Mm. See what this thing gives me. It doesn't have a wick to the up or downside, Alfred. Hey, what's up, Market Edge? And generate the damn thing then. Okay. I mean, how can you beat that? All right. Ah, shit. Oh no, I had it right. Okay, I was like, dude, what the hell? All right. So I think I'm gonna reduce this, or maybe I can keep it. No, 15. Hey, what's up, Tony Gold? Think I'm going to. So 12 contracts. Hmm. Okay. All right. We'll test that out. We'll test that out. Honestly, I'll probably take everything off. So with the ES, you have room to play with the contracts. Depending on how you want to trade the ES, you kind of have the room. I am copy trading the ES with multiple accounts. I'm gonna spread my risk amongst at least 3 accounts. with the ES. The ES does move slow enough to where I don't have to kind of rush and try to get into something and hurry up and put something together. It would have been nice if I was looking at gold, but uh, if I had my limit that was sitting at 71.3 since last week, that limit right there would have I would have been super paid. I was looking at 71. I had a limit sitting at 71.3 all last week, and of course it hits it after when I don't have nothing there. Of course it does. Or maybe it did. Maybe I did get a hit. Maybe Apex did allow me to leave a limit over, because sometimes Apex does and doesn't. Maybe it did. I got a lot of these Apex accounts that now I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 accounts. Last week, with that play from ES, I made 2,700 in both accounts, which I mean I made $5,400 on the day, and I only had one position, so uh, because the ES ranges a lot, I can take advantage of taking that first profit target off, and if I do see a pullback, I can scale into it and kind of double dip into it. And that's probably what I'll start doing actually moving forward. Probably have to make another probably have to make another uh, hey, what's up, Cave Trader? Probably have to make another one. So yeah, so this week we're definitely going. So for those that's just joining, since ES is in popular demand, we'll trade the ES orb over the Nasdaq orb. We just have to make sure that since everybody here is Nasdaq traders now trying to make the shift to being low key ES traders, we have to make sure that our mindset has to also change. Trading the ES comes with a certain mindset. For whatever reason, the ES is the only market that when I get on an ES chart, my mind kind of automatically shifts to an ES mindset. I don't trade. I I'm very I have habits that I carry over from the Nasdaq, but for whatever reason, when I get on an ES chart, those Nasdaq habits do not transfer over. You will not see me fight an ES trend. That is a losing battle. You see lower lows and lower highs. You go long if you want. You'll become a market donation liquidity to the market really quick. Trade the middle of the chart if you want. You'll become a liquidity donation to the market really quick. You definitely have to be patient for your entries, and you have to be patient for your targets. If you're patient enough, you can get in on a move like this, where you kind of see the breakdown. If you can kind of get into the pullback, and this is the Nasdaq, my bad. If you can kind of you see the breakdown, and for those that chase this thing down, like I said, the bulls that were just aggressively buying at this trend line, well, unfortunately for them, they fought against the trend, and the ES trend will always win. The ES trend will always win. Just keep that in mind if you're going to transition over to the ES. The ES trend will always win. It will always win. The ES trend is undefeated. It's Floyd Mayweather in this motherfucker. It's undefeated. Trade against it if you want. Anyway, but the great thing about the ES is that All you need is this move right here. You draw your levels of liquidity, you draw your levels of support and resistance. You see that that's where price pushed down from. We got a bounce. All you had to do was wait for how the price reacted above this high. You saw that sweep, you get in short, maybe a 1 or 2 or 3 point stop. The strategy that I'm going to run initially will be a 5 and 3 tick stop. That is an over exaggerated stop on the ES. I don't really need that much drawdown, but there are times where the ES kind of gets nasty. So I want to have at least a decent size stop, and I have a 1 to 2 target. So my first target will be at 11 points, and 5 and 3/4 is half of that. So I'm going to have a 1 to 2 target, or a 1 to 2 risk to reward. And if I get in correctly, like I did on Friday, I wouldn't even need to worry about my stop getting hit. And I believe I lose $500 per trade, $400 or $500 per trade, which is not bad considering that I may lose once or maybe twice on the ES, but I win more than I lose on the ES because obviously she forces you to wait for the setup. And it's kind of hard to, you would have to really be tilted to follow up a trade on the ES without it setting up first after taking a loss. That's the one thing about the ES is that you don't have to. FOMO on the ES is, in my opinion, unnecessary because of it's not launching. If you're familiar, well, unlike the Nasdaq, where the Nasdaq can V bottom and she doesn't necessarily have to fill majority of an orders and a range, because what the Nasdaq likes to do is she likes to drop down, and when everybody gets aggressive, she'll flip and she uses people's stops to V bottom. She doesn't necessarily have to come into an area of support where there's liquidity, because she knows that if she so chooses, she can take these stops and move the way that she wants to. But the ES, on the other hand, doesn't have that same luxury because the ES is so heavily traded. It's not going to ever be volatile as the Nasdaq. If you actually look at the CFTC data let's look at that. And this is what I'm talking about with the ES and why it's a more solid instrument than the Nasdaq, because the Nasdaq is, in comparison, is super low liquidity. But when it comes to the ES, you'll see that, where is it at? See S&P. Okay. You can see with the ES, you see 200,000 contracts, 400,000 contracts being traded versus the 70 to 80,000 contracts being traded. I'm trying to find the, let me see, S&P 500. And this is why I don't necessarily take the CFTC data for the ES, is because with the ES, you can see that a lot of the times they're so close together because a lot of people hedge with the ES. The ES is so heavily traded. That's why it's so stable. You're not going to get. I mean, this is the micro. All right, so this is it right here. I wonder why it didn't just show up. But no, that's not it either. That's not it. Okay, so yeah, this is it right here. This is it right here. Okay, I don't know why it was so much difficult anyway. Yeah, you can see that the contracts that are being traded in the ES compared to the contracts being traded in the Nasdaq, you see that it's only 97,000, 80,000, 50, 52. When you look at the ES, they're well over 200,000 contracts. So you're not going to get volatile moves in the ES. The ES literally has to set itself up before it makes its moves. The it's kind of been a good thing for the ES traders because at least the ES has been trending. So it's a good and bad thing. Usually ES traders have to swing their positions to get targets hit because the ES will range and break out and pull back and then break out in a continuation, then see a continuation, kind of like something similar to this. If you can just imagine this range to be one session with the ES. This is what the ES would normally do. We will see a breakout from the range. We'll see the pullback into this range where the bulls usually hold the pullback. And then we see a continuation. But we've been getting all of that now in one session, kind of like the NASDAQ, which is great. I guess it is a great time to be an ES trader. But like I said, when it comes to these chart geometry, because it's heavily traded, it respects it. Chart geometry works on the ES. And as I always say, you don't have to take my word for it. You can always look back at the charts, draw these lines, circles, and squares on your chart, and see how the market just beautifully reacts at these areas. And you can see that this trend line, you see how far back this trend line was going and how far back this trend line was, where the market was trending on this trend line, use it as resistance, broke down, came back, and then broke down again. Honestly, this price action right here looks very similar to what actually happened on Friday, where we got a break. They pulled back to the trend line. They broke down, taking out this low. And we could potentially see price actually reject around 493, maybe 495. Potentially see a retest at 6,500 potentially. I'll be keeping my eyes out on this area right here. And we'll see if we can find a trade tomorrow, a really good trade tomorrow. Another thing that I've seen is the orbs on the ES is you can actually trade them during the next session if you have the orb marked out on your chart. You can see that because the market didn't take out the orb high, we got a rejection at the orb high. They came back out. They broke out back above the orb high. They failed to hold the pullback. And they came back in and look where they found support at the previous day orbs low. So these orbs, orb highs and orb lows, on the ES at least, are actually great targets and great areas to look for entries. And that's something that I've noticed during my back testing over this weekend, as we prepare to make the transition over to the ES. This is another great example right here. where in the next session, you can see that they shot back above the previous day's orb. Barely any friction at all. You got a pullback. It broke above it. It pulled back perfectly. And from the orb high from the previous day session, you got almost what a 21-point move to the upside. A breakdown coming back and then retesting the high. I mean, shit. This right here, if you can kind of get in on the initial move and then potentially get a follow-up move to retest that high before it actually breaks down, uh, adding to your winners after you take profits is going to be definitely a valuable strategy on ES, and we're going to explore that for sure. And you can see that the ES held this trend line. Anybody? So I mean, if I had my 5-point stop, I mean, I would have gotten I would have gotten stopped out on this. I mean, I would have got stopped out on that if I chose to get in again. Would have got stopped out. I would have got stopped out again because this right here would have been tricky. That right there was tricky right there. That's tricky right there. Because if you try to get back in at the orb low, I mean, if they faked you out, well, I mean, well, actually, never mind. This is the ES. I'm looking at it as if it's the Nasdaq. When it comes to the ES, the one thing that I'm always looking for is these EMAs. These EMAs are literally cheat codes on the ES. You want to be on the right side of these EMAs. You don't want to trade against the EMAs on the ES because she does not play that. You can't even find anywhere on this chart where price was not reacting to either the 21, 50, 200 EMA or VWAP, and price blasted through it. You just can't find it. You're not going to find it because the ES respects these indicators. You're not going to find it. So I just want to obviously we'll talk about this tomorrow morning when it comes to the ES, but I will say this that out of all the three instruments that I trade, the ES is probably the instrument that I trade the least, but I've made the most money in. And when I mean by the most money, I'm talking about in a single trade. Because ES is so stable, you can literally, I mean, I feel comfortable trading 9, 10, 15 minis on the ES, knowing that as long as my stop is in the correct spot, I don't have to worry about the randomness of the coming back and swiping liquidity. Once the ES swipe its liquidity is going in the opposite direction. It doesn't need to make pit stops. That's why it ranges like this. You see this chop, 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 and then this manipulation run, this run on liquidity right here. And you can see that we got that move back up and it never came back underneath this low. Catching a move like this with 15, 10, 15 contracts, catching this move up, that's easily a 10K plus day. Easily. The Nasdaq, not so much. I mean, you're really taking a gamble. I mean, the Nasdaq does the same thing, but because we know how volatile the Nasdaq is, it's really a gamble to trade such heavy size, knowing that it whips back and forth. Yeah, that's correct, Alfred. You don't make fast money, but if you're patient, one trade can be your entire month. If you're patient, if you're patient, one trade can literally be your entire month. Uh, how many times did we make 20K on the ES? I think last month. Just waiting for the right opportunity and holding it until target. It was up 20K. And we did that, what, 3 or 4 times on the ES? It is definitely possible. And if you have a 20K day, shit, that's your month. I mean, if you're trading a personal account, I'm pretty sure that you'll be a happy trader and you probably wouldn't even need to trade anymore. But, as prop firm traders, we have to trade every day. We have a quota that we need to meet in order to get a payout. What these prop firms don't want is for me to copy trade and make 20K across all accounts. That's what they don't want me to do. And shit, if I have to make it a goal to do that, shit, I will. But that'll definitely be something that I'm going to work towards. Not necessarily something that I'm going to come into the market every day and say, okay, I'm going to try to make 20K. Because like I said, when we made the 20K, I was in 9, 10 contracts, mini contracts, and we held it for 30 points, 30 plus points. Yeah, we should see a breakout on gold here. We should see a breakout on gold. I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow morning as I'm looking for a trade in gold that gold is probably trading back above 3,400. I wouldn't be surprised. Probably. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Nightfire says that he's working on 5 test accounts this week. He'll pass 2 of them tomorrow, and the other 3 he's just starting. Okay. My bad, K Trader. I'm just okay. So you said Tradify ban. Really? Are you sure? They removed it. Huh. That's interesting. Tradify took away Bitcoin because it has something to do with Tradevate? Wow. I know a lot of people talk shit about Apex, but shit, Apex has been the same since its inception, I guess. It seems like everybody is, dude. I think I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I just think that Tradify doesn't want because shit. When we was trading Bitcoin, we was making a lot of money trading Bitcoin, and I wasn't trading heavy size. You can make a lot of money in Bitcoin. I was trading 7 micro Bitcoin contracts, and with the what is that shit called? U Profits swing account, I netted over what 10K in one position because I just went short and just held it, and I didn't even need to even do that. With 7 micro Bitcoin contracts in a decent drop, you can be up $2,000-3,000 easily. Easily. I believe they took it off because because Bitcoin right now is volatile. All you have to do is get in a good position and you're good. even though it's low volume, even though the fills could be ugly. You get into a good spot on micro Bitcoin, and sky's the limits. So I could buy options if I'm predicting. See, I don't trade options anymore. I'm I'm not a good options trader. Uh, I'm good at trading spot price. I'm not good at trading volatility because I have a tendency of holding, and my contracts has a tendency of expiring worthless. So um, every time I take profits, like my Tesla play, I bought. We talked about Tesla potentially pushing up during earnings. I was super right, super right. We bought contracts, I think $20 contracts maybe, and I sold those for 500. And at the end of the day, they were up $1,100. Even though I was profitable, my stomach was hurting because I was like, man, I left $600 on the table. But for whatever reason, the opposite tend to happens when I say, okay, I'm gonna hold this thing and see what happens. And then when I hold it, the shit comes back down to zero and then expire worthless. I don't want to play that mental mind game with the option market anymore. I just don't. I don't. I had XBX calls that went up. I bought them at $45. They shot up to $3, and I had one more day to expiration. So I was like, I'm gonna hold these, man. This shit went up $150 or $250 because it was a spike at the end of the day for earnings. And I was like, man, of course I buy the damn options when the earnings don't continue the next goddamn session. I buy it when they pop at the end of the session and they trend down. And so my $45 XBX calls went to 300, and then the next day they expired worthless. So I say all that to say this: when it comes to options, I always get in good prices. I never take the profits when I'm supposed to, and then more often than not, they expire worthless. More often than not, and that hurts my feelings. And actually, that XBX play, because what happened the previous day? I think it was I forgot which tech earnings it was. It shot up and then it continued into the next session. And then and then I think it was like Google, or it was like one of those tech, Microsoft or Google or something like that. I don't know. And then if it shot up and then it just dropped the next session, and, that just hurt my feelings. So I was like, you know what? I'm not putting no more money in my option account anymore. I'm not putting no more money in my options account. Huh. You too, Nightfall. Have a good night, man. Yeah. I mean, shit. I mean, I'm Mr. Trade a lot. We can get on any instrument, look at the technicals, look at the behaviors in the market, and we can be profitable on it. Uh, I think the reason why I stopped trading Bitcoin was because, as crazy as it sounds, it just wasn't challenging. It was too easy. What Bitcoin is literally a bear's market in Bitcoin. It's literally a bear market. I went short so much in Bitcoin, I was like, man, you know what? This shit's not even fun. I don't even want to. I don't want to short it no more. You can't even go long on Bitcoin. Like it seems like the only time that you go long on Bitcoin is if there's news, if Trump says something about it. Uh, it's all news based when it comes to Bitcoin. But for the most part, you short it, you're getting paid. Yeah, this thing is this is a bear's market. This is a bear's market. And when I first started trading gold, I started trading gold when it was a bull market. You couldn't even short gold. But I think gold is the same way too. I'm not a trader, I just scalp a lot. Because gold likes to short ever since it reached all-time highs. Gold has gold has been shorting. We get these big random ass pops back into resistance, and then it comes right back down. Gold and Bitcoin are both bear markets. But I was fooled into thinking that gold was a bull market because I started trading gold when gold was doing all this shit right here. Like you couldn't short, like dude, you could not short gold. You couldn't short it. As much as we got these pullbacks in gold, these were dangerous. This is like almost shorting the Nasdaq. It was just so bullish. It was hard for the bears to actually make these short moves, and that's why you'll see these big runs, these pullbacks into support on gold, and then right here, face rippers, and then this dip right here to all-time highs. Or was this all-time highs? Yeah, I think this all-time highs. This run right here was dangerous. Dangerous to be a bear. But apparently that's not how gold trades. Apparently. All right, was this all-time highs? No, that's is that all-time highs on gold? Oh yeah, I forgot we switched contracts. My bad. My bad. We switched contracts on gold. Actually, let me look at the so what is the current all-time high on the December contract? Yeah, this move right here is when I started trading gold. As it rolled the hell up and you just couldn't short this thing. I started trading gold early this year and gold was just a rocket. You couldn't short gold at all. And this gave me the impression that gold was a bullish market, but it's not. Or at least now it's starting to kind of be more bearish than bullish. I mean, right now the all-time high on the December contract is 35, almost 3600 on the December contract. 10 points away from 3600. And this supply area is just where the market has just been pushing back into and then just selling off every time. So that move above 535, we're going to super take out all-time highs if price pushes back above this because of all these stops. Because obviously this is a wall right here, obviously. Oof. Yeah, I just keep my eyes out on gold for tomorrow because I do think that will probably push back up tomorrow. We'll see though. We'll see. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a rejection here at this trend line. Maybe a pop. Maybe to try to tag Friday's highs. I would not be surprised if that were to happen. Mm. Alfred said that he got in at PPI lows. That was a great entry. Getting around the PPI's lows looks like that was the right decision because the market definitely used that right here to push. Oof. Hey, Alfred, did you say that you already taken profits on this one? Or are you going to wait until we get to Friday's orb high, take profits? We do got this range right here, though. We do got this range right here that the market could potentially use. If we can kind of get above, if we can kind of get above this range right here, we could potentially see some higher prices. If we get above this 24K range, so these three ranges is the market made these ranges last week. I'm going to keep these ranges on this week. I'm going to keep these ranges on this week because of how significant they were last week. And we could see the market continue to use these ranges. But once we break through these ranges, I will delete them off the chart. Once we sit, because you can see that the market used these three ranges to reject. But we saw the CFTC data. We saw how bullish they are this week. So we can easily see the market just rip through all these and use the stops that's at these areas to fuel the move higher. And if we get above this 24,000 range, we're definitely going to 24.1, 24.1, 24.150, possibly even 2. This is going to be the deciding factor is going to be this range. So honestly, what I should do is to remind myself of this range is to turn this into a golden range actually. Because this is actually the range that the market needs to push back over. That's not what I want. Okay, it doesn't matter. Turn this into a golden range right there. Turn the opacity down so it's not so bright. Okay. So that's going to remind me that this is a golden range right here. And that the market needs to get back above this range and hold that pullback. And then we can see the market shoot higher from here. We could potentially see a the market kind of go down. We could see maybe a bearish move potentially, and then a really big move on Friday. Once I guess once Powell confirms to the market that there will be a rate cut at the next meeting. Obvious. So actually, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because we do got the Jackson Hole Summit this week on Friday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you, YM. So YM stated that TPT's best discount so far ends 40 minutes tonight. Let's look at that. Let's get that before we look at this. Hmm. Okay, here it is. I was like, where the hell is it at? All right, so they're doing a 40% off, no activation fee, and 100% initial test refund in your first withdrawal. Huh. When the prop firms compete with each other, us traders win. But at the same time, we all know that the house has the edge. We know that. Take Trade Day is also doing a similar. They're also doing a similar 40% off, no activation fee. Um, I think you have to trade the same day. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it? Do you have to trade 5 days and take profit trader, or is it that 7 days, similar to Trade Day? But I don't think trade take profit trader has a take profit X. I'm not. I think their only platforms are the CQG data and the rhythmic data. Take profit trader is 5. Okay. There's a paid NinjaTrader license is required. Hmm. So if they have rhythmic data, so they have all these options available, but rhythmic is such a dinosaur now compared to everything else. I'm surprised if they even have. I think Quantower is probably the only thing that probably and probably Sierra charts as well. I don't necessarily see too many people trade on Bookmap. Not saying that they don't, but I rarely see it. So yeah, probably rhythmic or not rhythmic, Quantower, Sierra charts, R Trader. But I think a lot of people over here at the CQG data feed though, using NinjaTrader, TradingView, and Tradeovate. But at least Trade Day. So we'll see. I may purchase. I may purchase. I'm. mm, uh, I may purchase. I may purchase a Trade Day account. I may purchase 3 Trade Day X accounts. End of day 50Ks. I may buy 3 of these and copy trade them with the ES. Maybe. Oh, so they don't do Pro Plus. So yeah, so what they use, it seems like a lot of these when you get into that live sim funded, mostly live, for whatever reason, a lot of these firms prefer that you trade in Tradeovate regardless of what platform you originally chose to trade in. I had to switch from NinjaTrader 8 to Tradeovate, and I absolutely hated Tradeovate. I hated the fact that not only did I have to pay that stupid ass $150 data fee that they charge you, which is outrageous because if you have a live account, you're paying maybe what $15 at the most. Where to get that extra 140 some dollars at? I hated the fact that in my live account every month I had to, well, I only had it for 1 month, but not only are they taking 10%, 15% of my profits, they're also taking out that $150 data fee. And shit, just imagine you only had $140 in your account and you're trying to build your account back up, and then that data fee comes and the data fee blows your account because they're going to withdraw that shit out of your account every month. Of course it was. Yeah, that's definitely. And Foley, yeah, yep, it ends tonight. We'll see. I feel that take profit trader, well, okay, let me just say this. If you're going to get a new take profit I'm sorry, yeah, take profit trader account, if you don't want to take that chance, then make sure that you purchase it before the sale ends. However, these firms know that the market share is limited, and if Trade Day has extended its uh, promotion until the end of the month, and it's basically the same thing as Take Profit Trader minus the trailing drawdown, that's not a good business move on Take Profit Trader's part. But don't take my word for it. It just makes business sense for them to extend it, especially when their biggest competitor is extending theirs. When it comes to these firms, I mean, these forever sales that they have, I never feel the need to. And I guess I never have FOMO with these sales because I know that they're going to come back out. If you were in this space earlier on before Apex, there were literally no promos, and the path to payouts were so crazy. The house had the entire edge, literally the entire edge. And I'm thinking about Top Step. They had 3 phases, one with the end of day, intraday, and then you had to make $5,000 before you got your first payout. Even thought about it. So you had to go through 3 phases before getting a payout with Top Step. And all the other firms that was similar. And then Apex came along with their discounts, and all the prop firms were reluctant to start with these discounts. They were bashing Apex, saying that, oh, Apex is just a gambling service, blah, 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 blah. And now every firm to stay competitive has to have a discounted price, or they'll just lose the market share. I mean, it's we as traders, we're in a space now where the prop firms are competing for our business. That's why Topset was like, yeah, we should form a cartel instead of catering to the customer, the consumer. Let's bring it back to the good old days where they pay wherever the fuck we told them to pay. And just be glad that these other firms said no, or at least they're not openly saying that they are, because we don't want to go back to the days where these firms are not competing. We see what that does to the market. Once it's all under one umbrella and they're working together, then they'll just keep their prices. You rarely see discounts. You rarely see cheap prices, and it's not good for us. So I bet that they extend it. But again, don't take my word for it. But yeah, Alfred, I mean, I think anybody would say that if you spend $300 and you 300x your initial investment, I think everybody would say, yeah, that's a great investment. So I'm considering it. I may grab me 3 of these at the end of the month to copy trade, and we'll rock with these accounts. But then I had to trade these for 7 days though. And honestly, these will be my first trade day accounts. I have not ever traded with trade day. I read the rules initially when trade day first came out, and they were so stuck on you can't gamble. If you have a windfall trade, we have the right to not pay you out and all that other stuff when they first came out. And because of that, I just never, there were better options available than trade day. Now it seems like trade day has kind of come to earth a little bit. Uh, they're coming into a market where 90% of traders are gamblers. I mean, they're still sticking with the you have to be consistent, you have to do this, you have to do that, blah, 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 blah. But it seems like they're now saying, okay, well, if we kind of want to be competitive, we have to kind of play the same game. I mean, we're all gamblers here. It's not like this is our money that we're trading. I mean, shit, they're telling you that we have a $50,000 account with a $2,000 drawdown, giving us 5 minis and 50 micros to be able of to trade. We getting contracts as if we actually have $50,000 of buying power, but we have a $2,000. So basically, have a $2,000 account with a buying power of a 50K account, and they're trying to say that we don't want gamblers. If that was the case, if you really didn't want gamblers, you wouldn't allow us to trade these many accounts or these many contracts. You wouldn't allow it. And so, anyway, yeah, I know Visible ID. They try to make a freaking cartel. Anyway, so yeah, I'll probably get one at the end of the month, and we'll probably trade the Trade Day X. The one thing that I like about the Trade Day X is that the risk settings. The risk settings is I feel is a very powerful tool. It's very powerful, and I wish NinjaTrader 8 had something similar to it. I wish it would have been nice if as powerful as NinjaTrader 8 is, it had those risk settings to where uh, it will cancel executions after it detects that I've reached a certain threshold that that I've made for myself. With the Trade Day X platform, it just really cuts down on the emotional and mental capital that you would have to use if you didn't have those settings in place. Before you sit down at your chart when you're in a sound mind, sound body, and you're emotionally sound as well, you can literally look at the charts and say, you know what, I only want to trade 3 times today, only take 3 trades. I only want to trade a certain amount of contracts and I don't want to go over it. And if I hit my own personal maximum daily loss limit, I want to not be able to trade. And we know that as soon as we get hit in the face by the market, all that planning, it just goes out the window. And the next thing we know, we start off with 2 minis, and then the next thing we know, we're in 200 minis, or I'm sorry, micros, 2 micros, because we just want to follow the plan, build our account over time. And before we know it, we're in 20 micros, 50 micros, 200 micros, however many micros, because we're DCAing into a losing position to try to save it. We're breaking our rules. We're in an emotional state and we're trading on tilt. And we all know that that's just not, it's not an easy thing to overcome. It can be emotionally draining. And once the ride is over and you look at your account and look at, man, all your hard work is now down the drain, uh, it becomes emotionally exhausting, discouraging. And usually what that results is buying more accounts, trading on tilt in those accounts, and yeah. at the end of the day, you can see that you may spend $2,000 to $5,000 just blowing through accounts like it's nothing. And that's just how dangerous trading on tilt is. But with those risk settings, it locks you out. Yeah, you're going to be mad. You may buy more accounts. I mean, hey, you buy more accounts. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, right? But when you come into the next session and you still see that you have your account after you've calmed down and you see that the market is, I guess, back to equilibrium, you can continue on in that account with a small loss versus trying to revenge trade back a big loss. So, uh, I have come to terms with trading with smaller size. I have come to terms with that. I don't necessarily trade on tilt like that anymore, but with the risk settings, now I don't even have to think about it. I can just put my strategy in those settings and just let everything play out. And once I make the money that I need to make during the day, it automatically locks out. I don't have to think about it, and it just makes trading easier. If you take advantage of those risk settings, it really takes a lot of the discipline away from you, and you can just focus on trading. You don't have to think about, man, if I lose this trade, I mean, I'm gonna have to fight getting back into the market, or I have to fight this, or I may break a rule. It's like as soon as your rules are broken, or as soon as your rules are triggered, your account is closed and you're locked out for the rest of the day. Mm. So, I mean, it does kind of look like I don't. Well, we'll see. We'll see if the bears kind of use this range as an area of resistance. We'll see. But all right. I guess that's going to be it for me tonight. Again, we'll be on the ES tomorrow, moving forward, trading the ES orb. Uh, if you're an ES trader, that will be the focus for next week is ES. We will be trading Nasdaq as well, but our focus is mostly going to be on the ES, mostly the ES. But we will during the times where we're in a ES trade, we can potentially look for a subsequent Nasdaq trade to take alongside it. Mm. We'll see. Okay, we'll see about that. But okay, all right, guys. That's it for me tonight. We'll definitely come back tomorrow morning, and we'll definitely look for more opportunities to earn some more money. And with that said, peace out, everybody. Have a good night.